Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Rounding Third, Episode 8. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of this Rounding Third, joined as always by my friend and co host.
Hayden Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We have so much exciting stuff to talk about. So many. I think the main topic for this show is going to be streaks in baseball. There's been a couple massive streaks. Obviously, the Rays. Jordan Walker. He has hit. He has a hit in all of his first 10 games. Uh, and Andrew Heaney tied an AL record for consecutive strikeouts. Uh, just a little taste. That and much more to talk about. We'll cover the Nationals a little bit. We're going to do a deep dive into some of these things. Um, it's a very exciting show. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, Hayden, what do you want to start with?
I mean, you know me. I love Jordan Walker. As a fan of the Nats, when the rumors were circling that he might be traded to the Cardinals, uh, Jordan Walker was the piece that I wanted. Uh, that guy is so good at baseball. Uh, and he's just showing that to everybody now. He's no longer, the little prospect head's little secret. Uh, he's just incredible. Uh, he's already one of the top hitters in baseball so far this season, and honestly, I can't see a world where he doesn't stay like this. I mean, obviously, the streak's gonna get broken eventually. You can't have a. I don't think there's ever been a 162 game hitting streak. Uh,
What are you talking about? He's gonna get a hit in every single game he ever plays.
that's what I never thought of that. But no, I mean, for you're talking about a player who's, you know, he's not playing his normal position. He's came up as a third baseman. He's now thrusted in the right field. Uh, it's like it's just incredible what he's doing. He already has 2 home runs on the year. Uh, has a stolen base too. Like I said, I think part of his value, where you're not seeing him up on those WAR leaderboards quite yet, is just because he's learning a new position. But the bat's playing very well. Uh, sure, he has a 393 BABIP, but like the quality of contact that he's making, it's not going to sustain that. But I don't think he's also going to sustain that 2.4 walk rate. So I mean, like, his batting average is going to drop, but his on base percentage will probably drop a little bit, but it won't like dramatically drop off like that batting average. And he's just a special player, man. I love Jordan Walker. I think, like I said, I truly believe this guy is like the real deal. Like, top by the end of his sophomore season, he's gonna be a top 20 player in the game.
I mean, obviously, a 10 game hit streak is nothing to scoff at, and it's even more of nothing to scoff at when it's your first 10 career games ever. Uh, that is very impressive. You know, a lot of people, as good as they are, they struggle in their first couple games against MLB pitching.
Mm-hmm.
But not him. No, he. You just heard all the numbers that Hayden threw out there. Uh, that's it's an incredible start.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's the greatest start of all time, but it's a
Yeah.
pretty damn
No,
good
I
start.
mean, it's honestly, it's a little reminiscent of I feel like every year out of opening day, we have some rookie to talk about. Last year, Stephen Kwan. Uh, and I mean, Jordan Walker is just unbelievable. He doesn't do. It's like he's kind of the polar opposite of Stephen Kwan. Uh, I mean, he has a solid hit tool, but he doesn't have Stephen Kwan's hit tool. But he makes up for it with his power, with his arm. Uh, he's a solid fielder out there, but he's not lightning fast like Kwan. It's just it's kind of funny in a way, because they're polar opposites, but it's still great to watch.
Yeah, we love it when new talent is infused into the game.
Yeah.
Obviously. You
I
don't
mean,
want
it's
it to
kind of
get
funny
stagnant.
because his team's the worst in the league right now.
Yeah, what are up with the Cardinals? Like, they have such a good
I don't
roster.
know how much you've been paying attention. There's a lot of drama with that. There's a big disconnect between like their manager and some of their players, where Tyler O'Neill didn't kind of run out. It was some
Yeah,
play on the base pass. It was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember exactly what happened.
he got thrown out at home at
That's right.
some point, and then he got benched the next day or whatever, and it was all public, and that was the issue or something like
Yeah,
that.
and like Ollie Marmol, the manager, just dragged him essentially to the media, which is kind of a no-no in baseball. It's just in sports in general. You don't really do that to your players, uh, but they did it anyway. And obviously he wasn't very happy about that, and so there's a lot of drama in the news because of that.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's only 10 games in, but
They lost that veteran
Cardinals are
leadership,
last.
man.
They're last in that division. They're 3-7. It's not it's not the greatest look for them. Obviously, they still have 152 games to play, so I'm not so concerned. We're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna cast judgment on teams yet, as in they're a huge bust. But
Yeah, I mean the lineup's been
just
hitting.
keep an eye on it. You know.
Yeah, I mean the lineup's been hitting. It hasn't really quite translated to runs quite yet. Uh, but I mean, really, it's their starting pitching. Uh, Miles Mikolas, Flaherty's kind of got lit up a little bit. Jordan Montgomery's been solid, but I mean they just don't really. Waino's been hurt. Uh, they kind of lost that veteran presence in Yachty behind the dish, where yeah, Yachty was old, but I mean, when you're talking about an old Yachty versus Wilson Contreras, there's still you're kind of losing some defensive aspects of it behind the dish. I think it kind of just it's amalgamating into this, uh, but hey, they have playing against the Rockies here, uh, which should be an easy series for them, especially when they have to face Jose Urena tomorrow night. Uh, it's just they gotta kind of put it together here, and kind of all hit on all cylinders. Honestly, I'm surprised Matt Libator hasn't been up to the big leagues, but maybe I'm just overrating him as a prospect, especially when he's talking about issues with pitching and all that.
Mhm. We'll see. Obviously, they have time, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
on
they
the other
got
side
two
of the
really good
coin,
prospects down in the
right?
system, or like pitching prospects. So if stuff doesn't get figured out, you're gonna see players get called up. So it's gonna
I'm
be a
not too
little bit of
concerned about the
competition
Cardinals. The Cardinals always find a way. They're always a good team.
because of Yachty.
It's just a little concerning that they're behind the Reds.
Man, the Reds start like when you talk about like big threes, like that's like kind of the thing right now in baseball. Uh, they have a big three already. Uh, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Graham Ashcraft is like a really good top of the rotation.
I understand. I understand they have good starting pitching, but like, it's not a good team.
I mean, then you got like Jonathan India. Jonathan India is a former Rookie of the Year. He's really good. Spencer Steer, he's a top prospect, really good third baseman. Uh, they got Tyler Stevenson. He's really good. I love me some Jake Fraley. Uh, he's just incredible. Like he's like just got a big beard and gets on base and hits the ball really hard. Like what's not the love there? Uh, and then like Will Myers, like he's like a little veteran. Like he can be solid. Like they've got some pieces. Will Benson's had some good weeks. Like it's not necessarily like a terrible team, man. Like everyone's kind of like, man, the Reds suck. The Reds suck. I was kind of one of them. But then like when you kind of really just like take a step back, and you kind of look at this roster. Like they're kind of good. They just don't have a fourth and fifth starter. Like that's all. That and their bullpen. is not it. But that's besides the point. Uh, I think the Reds can be solid, man. I don't know.
All right, we'll see.
I can talk myself into the Reds more than I can talk myself into the Giants. That's all I'm saying. That's where I'm at. I can also talk myself into
Okay.
the Pirates more than I can talk about the Reds, but maybe not so now with O'Neal Cruz being out. But
Yeah, that is a big one.
very important loss, very
Very. Yeah.
big piece in that Pirates lineup. I haven't seen necessarily who they're having at shortstop now. That's kind of the thing that I was like, ooh, okay, Rodolfo Castro, okay, that makes sense. Uh, yeah, no, I mean that's a big loss. It's gonna be really interesting to see kind of how they do over these next couple months.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It wasn't the Pirates' year. You obviously hate when you lose a player,
Mhm.
especially O'Neal Cruz. But the Pirates weren't expecting to go all in this year. That was like a next year or a year after that type thing. So it's not like the end of the world, you know.
Mhm.
But it does suck.
Yeah, I mean, this just was kind of like, I guess compare it kind of to the Nats. This is like their see what these young guys are. See
Mhm.
kind of what we have. And it's a little bit kind of like with the Nats when they lost Kid Cavalli,
Yep.
where it's you want to see what this guy is at the big league level, and kind of get
Well,
their
you have like some uh sample with O'Neal Cruz. You know,
yeah, but you don't have a full season though.
he was up for like almost half the season last year.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You want a whole season. You want him to keep taking that step forward and become that superstar that he was kind of promised to be. Uh, and he just that injury, it sucks. He doesn't get to be that superstar. Uh, but I
Right.
mean, they still have, like I said, a solid roster outside of that. They have a bunch of other young guys on that team. Uh, they have a bunch of kind of young infielders that kind of get more of a chance. Rodolfo Castro is one of them.
This is a
G1
little bit
Juan
little
Bay.
this is, it's a little bit out of there, but I saw Smith and Jigba on the Pirates.
Uh
Is he at all related to the wide receiver from Ohio State? Because I can't imagine.
huh.
Uh, I can't imagine multiple. That's too common of a last name.
Uh, he's Jackson's older brother.
That makes sense. Okay, I just saw the name and it was like, is that a typo or is that?
Nope, that's yep, they're brothers. I don't watch college football a whole lot, so I wouldn't be able.
He's like a first round draft prospect this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
So he's gonna. That's cool. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah.
Obviously, it's not important. I just noticed
Caden's
that and I
not
wanted to talk.
super insane, but he's a solid fourth outfielder.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, what was I going to talk about next? We talked about Jordan Walker. Uh, Andrew Heaney. We'll get to the Rays in a little bit. Andrew Heaney tied the record, uh, tied Nolan Ryan's record for consecutive strikeouts,
Mhm.
and it was to open the game. Uh, Pretty cool. Obviously not the hugest deal, but still pretty cool. You know.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it was
I
cool.
don't care at all.
You
Frankly.
don't? No.
Honestly, Andrew Heaney, that's just kind of par for the course. Where he's gonna do that, and then his next four starts, he's just gonna be the worst pitcher in baseball. Uh, that's how it goes. Uh, yeah, I'm not a big Andrew Heaney guy.
Fair. He's very streaky.
Yeah.
He's very, very streaky.
But hey,
I don't know. I
maybe
thought it was.
maybe figure it out in Texas.
Oh yeah, maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
He didn't.
And then the big streak, the Rays.
The Rays.
I don't know. First time that's happened since 1897, 1936. Which one is it? I've seen both of those dates. I don't remember. I have both of them in my notes.
36,
And
I think, is going to be the one.
36.
I think the Yankees were the last ones to do it.
I thought it was the Brewers. I'm like certain it was the
Oh,
Brewers.
I'm thinking of like a run differential stat. Never mind.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's where I
was...
saw 1936. Yeah. 1897 Brewers. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
It's like that's like Pud Galvin era.
Yeah.
That's what we're
That's
talking.
That's pre Bud Galvin.
Is that pre Pud Galvin?
That
Dude,
18
that is
what?
1897, I believe, is what it was.
That's post Bud Galvin era, I think. Yeah, he ended his career in '92. Never mind.
Ah,
Yeah, pre Bud Galvin.
dang. Pre Pud Galvin. That's crazy. That's just so long. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit on our last show. Haden said they could take it as far as 13-0. Has that changed? Do you think they can keep it going? Have you been impressed enough with their very, very decisive victories to say these guys are pretty good and they could win 162 games this year?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as winning 162. I mean, the team's very good. There's no way to get around it. When one of your starters goes down for injury, in what is right now off to a historical start, and the guy just happens to be like a top 5 pitching prospect in baseball, it's a little unfair, frankly. Zach Eflin's gonna miss some time, at least 15 days. And they still have Tyler Glasnow, who last time that guy pitched, he was like the Cy Young winner. Like it was like locked in. If he didn't get hurt, he was gonna win the Cy Young as long as he pitched innings and didn't have like a 2-inning start where he gave up 5 runs every start. It's just like they have so much talent on that roster. I think the bats are gonna come down to earth a little bit. I don't think obviously it's a small sample size. So this isn't what the bats are. But I mean Randy putting it together, over a full season, okay, that's you got me interested. Wander Franco finally becoming like the guy, because I mean when you read what he was read his prospect report, and when you follow that guy's career through the minors, you're like, this guy's like Mike Trout, but he plays shortstop. This is, and he's a switch hitter. It's not fair. You don't see a guy get an 80 grade hit tool that often. And he kind of did on every single prospect evaluation. He's insane. He is not fair. He already has a double today. As we're filming this or streaming this. He's
Right, they are playing right now.
They are playing right now. And Jeremy, how we were talking about Jordan Walker and how his BABIP is unsustainable, right?
Yeah.
Wander Franco's is 290. So that's below league average.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it? Okay.
He's just barreling the ball at an insane rate. That might be unsustainable. But because he's literally barreling the ball in 20%, 20% of the time.
That's ridiculous.
Which that's a hard. That's the.
Sorry, did you say 20%?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
Of his batted balls, 20% are barreled, which is an exit velocity over 95, and in the prime launch angle. Now the definition of a barrel changes depending on how hard you hit it. If you hit it like at over 100, that launch angle threshold changes and expands. But like he's just literally hitting the cover off a baseball. Uh, Further, another little fun stat. You know how I love WOBA, weighted on base average, right?
Yeah.
He's underperforming his expected WOBA, according to Statcast.
This is why I can't trust stats.
Like he's unfair. Uh, he's not walking a whole lot. He's already stolen 2 bags. He's just not striking out either, though. And that's kind of where you're seeing kind of these gaudy offensive numbers. He's just an insane talent. And I'm glad he's finally putting it together. And by the way, he's playing like a good shortstop. It's just,
Of course he is.
of course he is.
Of course.
Of course, he's already registered 1 out above average, which is now his tied for his career high. And so if he plays like a good defense at short and does this at the plate, like you're talking about MVP lock.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
The Rays are really good.
yeah.
The Rays are so good.
I mean, that's part of the reason why a lot of people. I don't know. I feel like a lot of when you're talking about like the people who no ball, like you can never count out the Rays because this was gonna happen eventually. Like with Wander Franco, it was not if, it was when. And
They called me crazy.
I think we're finally there.
That's awesome.
Which is great. And you said that, so I will say what surprised me about the Rays. And that's Isaac Paredes has been really good. For them, he's better than I thought. Like I thought he was gonna be a regular. He's been a bit better than that. And Brandon Lau kind of just went back to being Brandon Lau. Which probably should have seen that coming, but yeah. That and they've improved their defense alignment. Like I really like this defense.
What they do differently?
They stopped playing Yandy Diaz at third. Like G-Man Choi is a great first baseman. But part of the problem was they had Yandy Diaz having to play third base, and Yandy, not a great third baseman. He's a passable third baseman, but he's not great. And now you have him playing first every day. You let Isaac Paredes kind of get the everyday role at third, who's he's a solid defender there. You let Taylor Walls kind of bounce around the infield and just be a great defensive replacement. And it's just talking about that bullpen, where it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They'll have probably some pieces returning soon. They did lose Jose Siri, their center fielder, to the IL, the hamstring tightness. But that doesn't really worry me because they already have Manuel Margot there, and he's a really good center fielder still. So it's just a really good roster, and we're at the point where it's, when you talk about teams, and it's like if they put it all together, like this team's unstoppable.
Yes.
The Rays are putting it all together right now. Where just every single aspect of this team is just clicking. Which is slightly unsustainable over a 162 game season, because they're gonna have to lose a game eventually. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Telling me I shouldn't have put my life savings on Rays to go 162-0.
That's yeah. I am telling you that.
Oh.
It's just, this is a really good team, and I'm glad they're all putting it together. Because it makes baseball more interesting. I do think they're gonna go, when you're looking at their matchups. Tomorrow's matchup is the one that scares me. Taj Bradley's making his MLB debut against Chris Sale, and that's a little worrisome. If they can...
Question. More legit question. I'll let you finish before you answer it, but does this team, from obviously small sample size, but does this team have a chance of breaking the Mariners' win record? Like a real chance at it?
let me quick finish that thought, but I do have an answer for that. Uh, this team honestly can go better than 13-0. Like I said, this Todd Bradley start, that's the one thing where I'm gonna be watching that game. That's gonna be a really good game. That's the one. Adam Duvall just went on the IL, and he's a big reason why the Red Sox have won 5 games. And so that hurts them. And then their next start that worries me is Sunday. They got Shane McClanahan and Alec Manoah kind of slated to go against each other. That's going to be
It's gonna be a great matchup.
great matchup. That's going to be a duel. If you don't have any plans on Sunday, I'd put on that Rays game because that's going to be a really good game. But no, it's just a really good roster. And I mean, yeah, if they stay healthy, it depends on when Glassdown comes back. I think, like, he's huge. Because then that's, when you're talking about that, right, you have, Taj Bradley, if he can get started, you can move someone like Josh Fleming back to the bullpen, which then you just have a really good, like, long reliever in your bullpen. If they go and acquire, they're probably going to go grab some reliever for dirt cheap. Like, this team has, like, I think that's what's so scary about this team is they have spots where it's not, like, the perfect team, where it's not like you have, like, it's not like an all-star team. You know what I mean? Where it's not
Right.
like a team at an all-star game. There's room to improve, especially when you're talking about bullpen depth. This team can get really scary, man. Like, I'm scared. This team is going to be a nightmare. I hope they stay healthy because it's good for baseball. But yeah, I think when you're talking about when healthy, I think there's, like, obviously we're excluding season-ending injuries that have already happened, like Rhys Hoskins on the Phillies. Like, I think if he was there, like, okay, cool, you can make an argument for the Phillies. I think there's 2 teams that you can make an argument, like, when healthy, that are better than this team. Maybe 3. I'm looking at the lineup real quick just to see if I'm crazy here.
What are
3
the
teams when healthy.
What are they?
So we know I'm famous for my homer picks. The
Is it
Seattle
Mariners, Guardians, Padres?
Mariners, Yanks, Padres.
Not the Guardians, you don't think?
No, I like the Guardians a lot. I just don't think they're there yet.
Okay.
Like, I mean, when you're like, I think the Guardians pitching staff is amazing. It's like a top 10 staff in the league. But like, when you're taking the Rays pitching staff when healthy and you put it against the Guardians, like, it is like literally like the Guardians and then the Rays. Like, it is unfair how much talent is on this Rays team. Like, we're like mind blown at how, like, this Rays team year after year was winning games, like, with what seems like nothing, and now they have everything. Like, you have a guy who's, when healthy and is right, a top 10 second baseman in the league, or not a top 10. He's the best second baseman in the league. Like, he might not be the best defensive second baseman in the league, but when you're talking about what Brandon Lau can do offensively, like, he's insane.
Yeah.
Wander Franco is Mike Trout. And then they have, like, the best pitching staff in baseball. It is not fair. And then they have, Manuel Margot, Jose Siri are both really good. Isaac Paredes is really solid. Yanni Diaz just gets on base like he's Juan Soto. Like, it's just not fair. They have a team now. I really like this Yankees team. I think they have really solid guys. Nestor Cortez, Garrett Cole, Johnny Brito. I'd never heard of him before opening day, and that's a name to know now. and their bullpen's scary. Uh, on the Yankees, like I think they have one of the best bullpens in the league, and they're not healthy there. You know, it's can Josh Donaldson and Harrison Bader get healthy? Can Carlos Rodon come back and Severino come back quickly? Because if those two can come back, like that's a scary team, man. You got DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, uh, Hayes Volpe, like good. If so, you also got Gleyber Torres, Oswaldo Cabrera's solid. You know, Josh Donaldson, Harrison Bader. Like that's a really good lineup, man. Baseball's just exciting. Uh,
Yeah.
in the Padres, it all really depends on how Tatis comes back from
Of course.
his
Yeah.
absence. If he comes back and he's great, that's a really good team. I think their pitching isn't quite on par with these other teams we've talked about. But I mean that lineup is literally just like an all-star team. Like, like it's not fair. I keep saying it's not fair, but like I mean when you're talking about that 1 through 9, like you have Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Matt Carpenter, Ha-Seong Kim's really good. You know, Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Campusano, if he can kind of figure it out and become like the prospect that he live up to that prospect status. Trent Grisham's had, a better season so far this year. Like that's a good lineup. That's like a really good lineup. That's an all-star team. They're scary. That lineup's scary.
Yes, it's a very scary lineup. Before we head out, I just want to mention the Nationals real quick because I had talked a little bit about this.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten so many hits.
So many singles, yeah.
So many hits. And I know they're all singles, but you'd think. I'm just wondering what's changed because the lineup seemingly is worse than it's been in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're hitting the ball, and I don't. Do you think it's because of the shift change? Do you think it's because of something that the coaching staff has done? What do you think that is?
Well, I mean, honestly, they built the team around that. Alex Call is not prototypical home run hitter. Heimer Candelario, he's when you're talking about like back when he was like really good, like his batting average, his two really dominant years was 297 and 278. So he can hit for average. Joey Meneses, with that, I mean that doesn't go without mentioning. That guy can just rake. But Alex Call, he hits for singles. He's got a little bit of doubles power, but he's not hitting it over the fence all that often. Kyber Ruiz, that's a singles hitter. He wasn't really hitting for power. Luis Garcia, all that man does is hit singles. Lane Thomas, and then
He's got a bit of pop.
CJ Abrams, that's his whole thing. That's his whole shtick is his hit tool and good defense. The one that kind of stood out or has sticked out so far is Victor Robles. I mean, Fangraphs has him as the ninth best position player over the last week. Like he hasn't. Does he have a single? I mean, he has like extra base hits, but I'm looking.
He doesn't homer. Robles doesn't homer. He had like three home runs all of last year.
He had 6, but I'm looking to see how many of these are extra base hits because that's it's 2 doubles, and if I remember correctly, I know what one of them is. I don't know what the second one is. It might be a legitimate double, but that first
one of them
is
a fluky trackball. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them's kind of fluky, but I mean, like he's making like much better swing decisions. He's getting on base at a really good clip, and he's not whiffing. What we're seeing from him, that 412 batting average, not sustainable. But he's all Victor Robles has to do is just hit a little bit. He doesn't have to be a great hitter. He just has to be like an 80 OPS plus type guy, 85, 80 OPS plus, and play that elite Gold Glove defense. And he's above average big leaguer. He just hasn't done that so far, and so that's kind of he's already has more F4 than he did last season. Like He's hasn't barreled it more than he has in past years past, but he's already so far this year has a better hit, hard hit rate than he has his entire career. So I mean
Yeah.
that's honestly that's huge for when you're talking about a guy who was a black hole in the lineup to just kind of hit. That's monumental. And that's
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
seeing like some small sample size stuff, and you're seeing players who have improved, and that's what it is. Also, please start Stone Garrett more, please. He's so good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, he's what? He started what 2 3 games, and one of them he almost had a cycle.
Yeah, like honestly, I'd rather see him than Dom Smith most days. Like Dom Smith shouldn't be starting versus lefties. Have Stone Garrett be DH. Joey Meneses play first. There you go. You're
All
welcome.
right, you solved it. You
Welcome.
solved it.
You're welcome, Davey. Also,
Let's call Davey and Rizzo.
listen. We'll save this. I don't know how much you want to talk about the Nats.
Up to you.
Up to you. So, I know you didn't watch the game last night. Davey Martinez was sick. Like he was just under the weather, and so Tim Bogar was their manager.
Oh, that's why they won.
Like I don't like. I want you like. I don't want you to, but like if you like go through the game recap, like the way it was managed was just monumentally different.
Yeah, Davey's not a good manager. He's
Like
not.
he put Mason Thompson in the best situations possible, which finally Mason Thompson's getting every day. Like he's getting like the credit he deserves because that guy's really fucking good. Pardon my language. I love Mason Thompson so much. But they put Hunter Harvey in like a really good favorable situation for him, and he struck out Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. Like
Pretty good.
that's like he's putting them in favorable situations, and it's just like
I mean, we've talked about this over the beginning of the season. We were watching a couple games. Obviously, I didn't watch last night, but we've been watching these games, and Davey's a great motivator.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Hall of Fame motivator.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a great manager. He's not a great manager.
Yeah, no, I mean the thing that's what the stark difference is between like Bogar last night and Davey is Davey manages this team like it's gonna lose 100 games. Tim Bogar manages it like he wants to win.
Right.
Like he managed it like it was a team that has playoff aspirations, and like the way, I mean, just putting players in the right matchup that's just golden. Like I don't know. I'm just when I saw
I'm not
Harvey come in, I was super excited, and then he kept him in, and he just still raked and just dominated. It's just I'm happy.
I'm not gonna. The Nationals obviously don't have playoff aspirations, but
Mm-hmm.
the way they've been hitting, they've had a 14 hit game, they had a 16 hit game, I think they also had a 12 hit game.
All
When you're putting
singles.
up these kinds, when you're putting up, it doesn't matter if they're all singles. If you're putting up 10 plus hits, you should probably win the game.
Well, okay, here, Jeremy, let's talk about this. So, we're talking about how batting average isn't, like, the end-all, be-all when you're talking about, like, evaluating a player, right? Like, OPS does a better job at that, right? You would agree? So,
Yeah.
and you would say OPS is probably more predictive of runs being scored than batting average, correct?
Yeah, because it takes into account slugging.
Exactly. So, the Nationals are currently 6th in the majors in batting average, according to Fangraphs. They're 21st in OPS, and then they're 17th in runs scored. Like, if this team could hit for any power at all, like, literally, like, doubles, like, not even just home runs, doubles, this team would be really good. But just everything singles. It's just not a formula for success, necessarily. Also, Fangraphs, what are you guys on? I'm seeing their top prospects, and they don't have Elijah Green as a top 100 prospect.
Maybe he's not. Fangraphs has never been wrong before, right? Never. Not a single once. Yeah. I think, yeah, he should be a top 100 prospect, obviously, but there's a lot of really good prospects that are starting, like, they're still considered prospects. They're just being called up now.
Yeah.
And I think once those guys get off the list, he'll be pretty square on.
They have Christian Bacchero ahead of him, who's like an international
I don't know who that
complex
is,
guy.
so I can't give you a
He's-
genuine reaction.
he's-
I can guess
he-
how to react.
He's, I'm, once he makes his stateside debut is when I'll get excited about him. But he's very toolsy. We'll put it that way.
Okay. I mean, Fangraphs likes the tools player.
Yeah, I mean
They
they have
do.
James Wood at number 9.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I told you, man. James Wood, if he can keep his speed, like he's generational. But we will see.
We will see. Is there anything that you wanted to cover that I have missed today?
No, just I mean, we're doing this every week. We're gonna be doing this every week probably for a long time. So
Yeah.
I think we finally got into a rhythm of this. So we'll have more to talk about next week. Yeah, that's all.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for tuning in to this episode of Rounding Third. I have been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my friend and co-host.
Haden Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you at home.
Go D-backs.